muscular and nervous tissue. Human body is composed of 4 basic types of tissues: epithelium, connective, muscular and nervous tissues. These tissues vary in their cellular composition and their function. Epithelium lines and covers the surfaces. Connective tissue protects, supports and binds the organs. Muscular tissue produces movement. Nervous tissue receives stimuli and conducts impulses. We know that living organisms can move on their own and their organs are moved voluntarily or involuntarily. The movements are possible due to the presence of muscular tissue in our body. This tissue provides us an ability to relax and contract to bring about movement in various parts of the body. Apart from movement of hands and legs, there are other movements in the body too, which are necessary for the survival of the organism, such as the heartbeat and the movements of the alimentary canal. These all are possible through muscular tissue. Based on the structure and the kind of control we have on our muscles, the muscular tissue is of 3 types: striated or skeletal muscle tissue, unstriated or smooth muscle tissue, cardiac muscle tissue. Skeletal muscles remain attached to the bones present in our body and are responsible for all the voluntary movements. Cardiac muscles constitute our heart and make our heart beat throughout our life. Smooth muscles are responsible for involuntary movements of stomach, intestine, uterus and blood vessels. Histologically, all 3 types of muscle tissues are different. The fibers of skeletal muscle and cardiac muscle show banded appearance, whereas smooth muscle fibers do not have bands and exhibit plain texture. Striated or skeletal muscle tissue. Skeletal muscle is the most abundant tissue in the vertebrate body. These muscles are attached to our bones and thus named as skeletal muscles. Each set of skeletal muscles is made up of thousands of cylindrical muscle fibers. Each muscle fiber further contains a set of myofibrils that are stacked lengthwise and contains many nuclei. Each myofibril is made up of bundles of thick myosin filaments and thin actin filaments. Due to repeated presence of actin and myosin filaments, skeletal muscle fibers look striated. Skeletal muscles are responsible for voluntary movement. Functions of striated or skeletal muscle tissue. Skeletal muscles cover your skeleton, giving your body its shape. Skeletal muscles are under voluntary control, which means you consciously control what they do. Skeletal muscles function in pairs to bring about the coordinated movements, like movement of the limbs during playing or cycling, bending of the trunk, movement of jaw, movement of eyeballs, etc. Skeletal muscles are directly involved in the breathing process also. There are two sets of muscles attached to ribs that help you breathe in and out: unstriated or smooth muscle tissue. Smooth muscle is made up of single, spindle-shaped cells, each having a single large oval nucleus. These cells are pointed at their ends, and each cell is filled with a specialized cytoplasm, the sarcoplasm, and is surrounded by a thin cell membrane, the sarcolemma. It gets its name because no striations are visible in them. Smooth muscle fibers are arranged to form bundle of the fibers. Smooth muscle forms the muscle layers in the walls of hollow organs such as the digestive tract, the walls of the urinary bladder, the uterus, the walls of blood vessels. Smooth muscle is an involuntary tissue, that is, it is not controlled by the brain. Functions of the unstriated or smooth muscle tissue. Smooth muscle controls slow movements happening in the internal organs of our body. Hollow organs such as blood vessels, the gastrointestinal tract, the bladder, or the uterus. These muscles work automatically without us being aware of them. The muscular walls of the digestive tract contract to push food through the body. You do not come to know about the movements happening in these organs. Muscles in your bladder wall contract to expel urine from your body. Smooth muscles in a woman's uterus help to push the baby out of the body during childbirth. The walls of the arteries contract and relax to regulate the blood pressure and the flow of blood. They are also made up of fibers of smooth muscle tissue. Cardiac muscle. This is a unique tissue found only in the walls of the heart. Unlike other type of muscle, cardiac muscle never gets tired. It works automatically and constantly without ever pausing to rest. The myofibrils of cardiac muscle are made of single cells, each with a single nucleus, and they are branched. Cardiac muscle tissue shows some of the characteristics of smooth muscle and some of skeletal muscle tissue. Its fibers are like those of skeletal muscle, have cross striations. Functionally, like smooth muscle tissue, it is involuntary in action. Functions of the cardiac muscle tissue. Cardiac muscle tissue plays the most important role in the contraction of the atria and ventricles of the heart. It causes the rhythmical beating of the heart. Beating heart is responsible for circulating the blood and its contents throughout the body. All living cells have the ability to react to stimuli. Nervous tissue is specialized to react to stimuli and to conduct impulses to various organs. Nervous tissue helps in bringing about a response to the stimulus. This tissue is what makes up the body's nervous system. Neurons and neuroglia cells make up nervous tissue. Humans have billions of neurons surrounded by an infinite number of neuroglia. Structure of a neuron. Each neuron has 3 basic parts: cell body, dendrites, and a single axon. The cell body is enclosed by a cell membrane and has a central nucleus. Apart from the mitochondria, Golgi bodies, some granules called Nissl bodies are found in the cytoplasm of the cell body. Dendrites. Dendrites are cytoplasmic extensions or processes that project from the cell body. Dendrites are short cytoplasmic branching that help to increase the surface area. Increased surface area helps to receive signals from the other neurons more clearly. Axon is one projection which is quite long and is surrounded by the myelin sheath. It is usually too long as compared to dendrites and carries impulses away from the cell body. There is a fatty layer around the axon known as myelin sheath. The purpose of the myelin sheath is to allow impulses to transmit quickly and efficiently along the nerve cells. Outside the myelin sheath is a cellular layer called neurylema. The myelin sheath, together with the neurylema, is also known as medullary sheath. The unmyelinated regions between myelin segments are called the nodes of Ranvier. Nerve cells are functionally connected to each other at a junction known as a synapse, where the terminal branches of an axon and the dendrites of another neuron lie in close proximity to each other but never make direct contact. Types of neurons. There are many types of neurons. Functionally, neurons are classified as afferent, efferent, or interneurons. Afferent neurons. They are also known as sensory neurons. Afferent neuron senses stimuli through receptors present in the skin. Afferent neurons transmit sensory signals to the central nervous system. Interneurons. Interneurons form networks within the nervous system to process the information received from afferent neurons. After receiving the information from afferent neuron, interneuron passes it to efferent neuron. Efferent neurons are also known as motor neurons. Efferent neurons transmit signals from the central nervous system to effectors in the body, such as muscles and glands. Interneuron passes the signals to efferent neuron, and the organ gets directed to do the required action. Neuroglia cells do not conduct nerve impulses, but instead they support, nourish, and protect the neurons. Neuroglia, also known as glial cells, act as the helper cells of the nervous system. Neuroglia protect, feed, and insulate the neuron. Functions of the nerve tissue. Nervous tissue allows an organism to sense stimuli in both the internal and external environment. Signals from this tissue also cause muscle contractions. Nervous tissue is responsible for most of the body's activities and processes, including memory, reasoning, and emotions.